How you doing? This is Sean McVeigh with Sean's Outdoor Adventures, and I've gotten the request to put out some videos on what I do after the harvest, and I've actually been working on some for several years. So I'm going to go ahead and put together one of my first cooking episodes. This one is dealing with the deer neck and making a roast out of it, and I have some other recipes that I want to share with you, but this one's the first. I really enjoy doing this. It comes out so good. You got to try it. So here's the footage. Check it out. Right now I'm going to be cooking the neck roast of a deer. And before someone told me about making the neck of a deer into a roast, I used to cut off the meat from the neck and grind it up for ground meat. And then one of the guys I work with told me how his people in his family, grandmother, great-grandmother, they used to fight over the neck to make it into a roast because it's really good. So I started to do it, and it really is delicious. I'll just tell you how I do it. There's different ways you can do it. You can also cook a regular roast the same way we're about to do the neck roast. So here I have a roasting oven. I don't know if you could try doing this in a crock pot. I've cooked ribs and things like that in this roaster oven and told people my recipe and the way we do it. And then they tried to do the same thing in a crock pot and it just didn't come out quite the same. So I'm not quite sure, maybe it's a temperature thing, but I'll let you try that with a crock pot if you want. But as I said, I'm using a roaster oven. There's a little metal grate that came with it that you can put in the bottom. I usually put it in there to keep the meat off the bottom just a tiny bit, just to try to get it to cook evenly. So here's my neck roast. All I'm basically doing is I'm taking the neck roast and placing it on that metal grate that I put in there. Then I'm going to take some water and pour it in there just so that it covers the bottom a little bit. Later on I'm going to add some gravy, but I like to start with maybe about an inch of water in the bottom, and the juices from the meat as it cooks will go into that water, and we can actually use that as part of our gravy stock. The next thing I'm going to do is turn the roaster oven to 250 degrees. Lastly, I'll put the lid on it and let it start cooking. And I'll just let it go. I'll come back and check on it in about an hour or two. Okay, we've got about 3 hours left before our roast is completely finished. And what I like to do at this point in time is add potatoes, carrots, and onions. And so I've already cut up my potatoes. I have about 4 potatoes here. And you kind of have to gauge how much room you have in your roasting oven, for how much you can fit in there. So I like to add that's about 4 potatoes worth right there. I've cut up 1 onion right here. And I like to have big cuts in my onion. My boy's over here eating, so he's making a little bit of noise, but I like to cut up my onions fairly large. So put my onion in. And I really enjoy carrots. I like them kind of soft. If you like them with a little bit of a crispiness left to them, you'll put them in later, maybe closer to your finish time, 45 minutes or whatever you like. I like them kind of soft though, so I'm going to put them in now, and these are going to cook with the roast for another 2.5 to 3 hours at this point. You can put these in earlier, but what I have found is that they sometimes dry out because you're not doing it completely submersed usually when you're cooking this kind of a roast. So anyway, that's how I like to do it, is put it in with just a few hours left. I'm going to add a jar of gravy on top. And I'm going to check this in about an hour to stir it up and see how it's doing. Well, folks, I have to tell you, the neck roast is so good when you cook it that way. I mean, it's to die for. If you've never had it, try making it the way I just said. It's so good. Maybe put a touch of salt on it when you go to serve it, but out of this world. Do not pass up the neck roast again. And I would actually show you me eating it right now, only I lost the footage And I'm actually having to record this because the closing footage of me eating it, sharing it, and closing the video somehow got deleted. Ugh, sad, sad thing. So I'm looking forward to this year when I harvest my next deer, especially doe. I love doing this with doe, but get my next deer and get another deer neck roast going. But please, guys, girls, you got to try it. It is so good. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, take care and God bless.